Hello everyone, my name is Larry Fournier, and on behalf of Ventive, I would like to welcome you to today's webinar, which is Winning with High ROI Email Marketing. Today's webinar features Lydia Sugarman, CEO and founder of Ventive. Lydia has more than 15 years experience in sales and contact management, email marketing automation, and over the last few years in social media marketing. Lydia and Ventive are pioneers in the combination of all of these tools into a single platform for integrated relationship management. We are recording this webinar, and you may be participating in the on-demand version. Throughout the discussion, I will be asking Lydia questions based on the response we received during the live webinar. If you have questions, you can submit them via email. I will provide Lydia and my email addresses at the end of the webinar. We will answer any questions that you have that were not addressed during the webinar. That wraps up the introduction, so let's get started. Now let me turn it over to Lydia to begin today's session. Lydia?
Okay, so we're going to be covering several topics today and just give you an idea of what Ventive is and why we're talking about email marketing, because a lot of people say email marketing is so old hat, it's so last millennium, but it really isn't. It is the standard that continues to deliver incredible results. When I started in what was called new media 15 years ago, or actually more than that, in 1995, it was because I fell in love with email marketing. And I've always thought that email was the 800-pound gorilla of the internet, and it continues to prove that year over year. But we're going to have some fun today and try to keep this entertaining and light for you while we talk about go back to some of the basics of email marketing and talking about what's new today and how to incorporate social media into your campaigns. And really what's really important is establishing benchmarks to measure your success. And then we'll get to the summary and the checklist at the end. So, about Ventive, it is an incredible platform that we're very proud of. It is unique in the industry in that it is a complete, integrated, easy-to-use relationship management platform. And what that means is that it includes sophisticated marketing automation tools, email marketing, SMS or text message marketing, a complete social media deck that lets you manage multiple Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn accounts, CRM tools that are, believe it or not, guys, it's user-friendly. You'll actually enjoy using the CRM tools. You can send trackable one-to-one emails from within the CRM. It has a full Salesforce automation component and event management and a lot more, but hopefully you'll decide to sign up for a trial, our 30-day free trial, and see for yourself. Just try us. You'll like us. I promise. So again, we come back to the question, why email marketing? Well, years ago, meaning last millennium, or not quite, in 2001, it was estimated that for every dollar spent on email marketing, you got a return of nearly $48. Fast forward to 2012, and the Direct Marketing Association estimates that you'll still realize more than $37 for every dollar invested in email marketing, generating $70 billion in sales. I just saw a new report last night, actually, that said email is still the preferred way people want to receive information and ads by an overwhelming margin. I will be posting that infographic to our blog later on in a couple of days. So are you in? Are you getting inventive about your email marketing? Small businesses to Fortune 500 use email to build relationships with their existing clients, connect with potential customers, generate new leads and launch promotions, support inside and outside sales, and brand their companies, and more. But we can't forget about spam. And spam is a very real thing, and it's a very specific thing. A lot of people talk about spam like it's that email that you weren't in the mood to get, or kind of as a disclaimer, oh, I don't mean to spam you, because you're sending an email and you do want to get it to them, but you're just kind of like excusing yourself. Personally, I don't think that's a great marketing tactic, but what spam really is email that people have not agreed to accept. And not only does can it cause you to lose clients, lose friends, and tarnish your reputation, it can actually get your business shut down. You could come in one morning to your office and find that your website is no longer online and that you can't send or receive email, and not just broadcast email through your email solution provider, all your email, because your ISP has shut you down.
Wow, that's
They're
I'm sorry,
Go
Lydia.
ahead.
That's a pretty powerful statement you're making there. Are you saying that anyone I send an email campaign to must be registered or have some kind of a relationship in my database?
Eventually, yes. And I give a qualified answer because the federal CAN-SPAM regulations do specify that you are allowed to send one business email to someone who has not opted in to or subscribed to receive your emails. And in that email, you want to be sure and have very strong calls to action inviting them to subscribe to receive future emails. If they do not respond, you are not allowed by law to contact them again. Anything after that is considered spam. So what has happened with the companies that provide email marketing technology, we go a step further, and as many of you already know, we all require that you show proof that your databases are comprised of people who have opted in to receive your emails. That means don't buy those email lists. They're worthless. They're worthless in lots and lots of ways, but they're really worthless in that they could get your business shut down if you use them. Go ahead.
So let me ask, we're getting questions from the audience here about opt-ins. Lydia, do opt-ins ever expire, or how long, once you get somebody to agree to receive email, how long is that how long is that good for?
Well, opt-ins don't expire, and they're good in that sense. They're good forever, but people opt in for a specific reason to specific emails. So, for example, say you have a nice database of 50,000 people who said, I love receiving your emails from ABC company, and you decide to shut down that company and start XYZ, which is in a totally different business. Those people did not opt in to receive emails from XYZ company. You have to go through the process again of inviting them to subscribe to your emails, and then of course you are required to make it easy for them to unsubscribe or opt out of receiving future emails. when you send any kind of communication to them.
So, that's pretty dangerous for a sandwich spread, I would say. When you talk about risking your reputation and losing clients, so there are regulations in place that we all need to pay attention to, I guess is your point on this slide.
Yeah, and actually, Ventive makes it easy, and I'm not going to say that we're the only ones that do this. We're not the only ones that do this. Every reputable email solution provider does do this. They have checks and balances built into their technology to ensure that you are compliant with the federal standards. The one thing that you do need to watch out for are some of the CRM applications out there make it possible to do email broadcasts, but they are not really set up to function as ESPs or email solution providers. Your servers aren't configured properly to manage the staggered send so that spam filters can and are triggered. They don't necessarily have the relationships with ISPs. So if you're serious about your business, if you're serious about your email marketing, and you're serious about your reputation, you want to use a reputable email.
That's great.
So the next thing is people say, "Oh well, how can I build an opt-in list? And I don't have a list. I don't have a list. How can I get a list?" And it's, there's no magic bullet. It is doing the work to attract people to your business and to your website, and making it easy for them to opt in. And that means that you want to, nowadays all you need to have in a subscribe form is an email list, is an email address request. And it's kind of like dating, you're not going for third base on a first date. So you don't do that when you're building an email marketing list and you're asking for people for their information. You can always come back to them and ask them for more information, and if you manage that properly, they're more than happy to give you more information. The other thing is making it really easy for them to subscribe, and that goes into design of your web page, your website, and having strong calls to action. Make sure you've got multiple calls to action above the fold, which means the first picture, that when people go to a new website, what they see on their screen is what we refer to as above the fold. It's like above the fold of a newspaper. And you want to have at least one very strong call to action there, if not two, diagonally across from each other, like upper right and lower left. And then respect the relationship.
So question is, I guess what you're saying is that building your opt-in list never really ends. It's something that everybody needs to do on a regular and a continuous basis.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we don't rely on always doing business with the same people forever and ever and ever. The reality is that there is attrition. Even the best companies will experience some attrition, maybe not as much as others, but you do want to always be out there and letting people know what you have. If you're proud of what you're doing, then you want to let new people know about it, be introduced to what you're doing, what you're providing. So it is an ongoing thing.
So, there's a lot of websites that we visit that they ask you for contact information for just about, or if not everything that you try to do. There's kind of a fine line, isn't there, between, collecting information and just nagging people?
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, then, and there are different forums for different things, of course. If you're just asking somebody to subscribe to a blog or subscribe to a newsletter, then all you need is an email address. If you're giving them something, if you're giving them a white paper or sharing a case study, something that you've worked hard on, that's kind of a quid pro quo. It used to be that we paid some pretty hefty fees for the kind of research that companies are giving away today. So it's not unreasonable to think that if you're interested in getting this white paper, then you represent a prospect. You're a prospect for whatever that company is selling. And it helps qualify that information. The more we give you, the more we are going to ask from you. And that's fair. Nobody's twisting your arm to download that free white paper. On the other hand, I think that when you build a form, for something like that, you need to make the decision about what you really, really need from people in terms of information, and have as few required fields as possible. And if you do that, I think people are more amenable to filling in all of the data fields, and particularly if it's autofill, then that makes it even easier.
Hmm. Okay. Well, that's really all the questions we had on that. I'm sure there's a lot more depth that we could go into on that, but I think we've given a pretty good overview of collecting opt-in information.
So maybe it's time to talk a little bit more about reaching the right audience in terms of list segmentation. This is something that a lot of people are talking about a lot and writing about a lot, and it's being written about and talked about a lot more than it's being done, because it's easier just to send out that email to everybody in your database. And I'm gonna take a moment here to say that you will never hear me use the word email blast, or I will always use the word broadcast, because personally I hear blast and it just reminds me of Dick Cheney shooting his friend in the face with his shotgun, and that's not a great mental picture. So I respect the people that I'm sending emails to a lot more than than to blast them in the face.
Point well made.
Segmentation is so valuable. I mean, if you do something as simple as it depends on what you're doing. It's if you're a B2B company or if you're B2C, all of those things determine. But if you're B2C, then you can segment by buying pattern, or what did they buy the last time. I've had a client for years who sells bras for discounted price online. And so, sometimes they send an email based on, past orders and even determined by the bra size. You're not going to send, or certainly you're not going to send a guy in your database an email about a bra sale. Just the same as you're not going to send a woman in your database a sale for boxer briefs. So segmentation works. It takes, and because our technology has gotten so much more sophisticated, you can actually do it on the fly. It is really, really incredibly valuable exercise to go through. It more than pays back for the few minutes that you take to study your database and understand those are people. Those are not just email addresses. There's a person behind every email address, and recognizing that by segmenting your list will translate directly to your bottom line.
So Lydia, let me ask you this. Where do you get the information that you can use to segment an email message?
Well, there's a couple of ways. One way is you ask people for more information. As I mentioned previously, when you make an offer of a white paper, if there's a special offer, then you ask them for more information about themselves. But with Ventive, actually, we've made it even easier than that. We integrated with a company called Rapleaf, and we supply gender and zip code free of charge for everybody in your database that we have, for whom we have that data. If you are looking for more advanced data in terms of name, address, age, all kinds of demographic information, it's 5 cents per record. To do that, you simply click a button that says research, and it'll show you what you have access to, and then you can choose individually the records that you want to add data to.
Interesting. So personalization, I guess, is more than just using a person's first name in an email message then.
Oh, yes. We even, you might wonder, why did we ask about zip code? You can actually do geo-targeted email marketing with Ventive, where you can say, I want to send this email to everybody within 10 miles of this zip code. I want to send an email for this restaurant to everybody within 5 miles of 10021. Since that's a Manhattan zip code, 5 miles is a lot. You might want to even dial down even more. It depends on how big your database is, too. You might be sending it to just a few people, but since it's targeted, you're probably going to get great response. The other thing, I was talking about buying pattern, geography. You're not going to send an email about snowblowers to somebody who lives in Florida.
Not usually, anyway. Although
unless that's just their...
with the changes in the weather patterns, who knows, huh?
Well, today, with the way the wind is in San Francisco, you could, sell a lot of parasails and kite surfing equipment.
Great. I think that covers, again, the basics on
Right.
Segmentation. A lot more can be said about that, but we'll try to keep this cursory right now for the discussion's sake.
So what, you might say, yeah, email marketing. It definitely is not a one-size-fits-all. We were talking about that in terms of segmentation and personalization. You want to tailor your messages to your audiences, and most of us will have more than one audience. But what is email marketing? I've never differentiated between newsletter and an email marketing and an email and a marketing email. I know they're different, but I mean, at the end of the day, you're kind of the incentive is kind of the same. You want to get in front of people. You want to give them information of value, and you want to build your relationship with that person, and get closer to your customers. And by using email to communicate, it's immediate in so many ways. Even though you might see email open stats shifting, it's really interesting that we're seeing, and this has been going on for a while. People save emails to read on the weekend when they're really busy. You know, it used to be, it's like, oh, what's the best day to send an email? When's the best time of day to send an email? And that still holds true, and it depends on who your audience is. But you're also very likely to see a bump in open rates and click-throughs on Saturday and Sunday when people have saved emails to catch up on the weekend. But more than anything else, at the end of the day, email marketing lets you stay in touch and lets you communicate very directly with people in a very real way, and in a much more in-depth manner than social media when you're limited to 140 characters.
So, Lydia, I guess you're saying the better you know your audience, the better email marketing will work.
Well, yeah, I mean, isn't that the way with every human relationship? And that's what we're talking about is human relationships. As dramatic as the changes have been that we've experienced over the last 10 or 15 years, we're all still people, and we all still want to connect, and we all still want to be appreciated. And if
Great.
you keep those things in mind, then your email program, your email strategy will work for you.
Terrific. It sounds more and more like a philosophy and a way of life than just a business tool.
Well, I think so. I mean, it goes to the email marketing basics and the different kinds of programs. There are, which is on the next slide, there are all different kinds of programs. The messages change depending on the kind of program. You can see some of them here: event invitations, or newsletters, as we talked about, or cross-sell and upsell, abandonment programs, welcome back programs, or welcome programs. We're using different strategies in crafting these emails and crafting the design, the message of these emails, and the calls to action in these emails. But one should always keep in mind that you're communicating with another person. If you were sitting across a table having coffee, how would you be interacting with that person? How would you be regarding that person or treating that person? So I'm a big believer in keeping it real and treating these people who've given you the gift of wanting to hear from you, the gift of respect in return, and that goes toward retention.
Well, I think the
Which we
audience
talked about
probably
earlier.
understands newsletters pretty well. There's a few things here that are maybe new to the audience. Uh, can you talk about what an abandonment program might be?
Yeah, I'll go around. I'll go around the circle here. And cross sell. I'll start with cross sell and upsell. If you, uh, this is what you do when you, this is when you go in. Okay, so you go into a store to buy a dress, to buy a suit. You go into the store to buy a suit, and you walk out of the store with a suit and three new shirts and a couple of ties and a new belt and socks and maybe new shoes. They have done a wonderful job of cross-selling and upselling to they've convinced you that, gee, that new suit looks so beautiful, but wouldn't it look really great if you set it off with a new shirt and tie? And I know that we've all experienced that, whether uh,
Well, I think we lost you there for a second. Let me ask you, speaking of cross-sell and upsell, isn't that,
uh-huh.
again, more along the lines of segmentation?
It is. I'm sorry, I went off into a brick and mortar example there with buying a new suit, and it is segmentation. So if someone, you know, I guess Apple is a good example, or any kind of Apple is a good example. When they see that you've bought a new iPhone, they're going to step up their um, emails to, or their communication with you to suggest uh, things that will make your iPhone experience even better, like better headphones, or a nice case to protect it, or any number of other things. More music from iTunes. You are getting people to buy more, to complement the original purchase. Or you go in and you say, well, I'm just going to buy an iPod. And it's like, well, yeah, but look at the features of the iPhone that I can get if I spend just a little bit more. That's an upsell. Uh, Abandonment program. How many, you see, or maybe you don't see, people that come to your website and start to fill out a form, an inquiry form, or even a transactional form to buy something, and they abandon in the middle of the transaction, in the middle of filling out the form. They've abandoned, and you got them that far. You want to get them back. So one thing that Ventive has done is we've included the ability to integrate conversion tracking into your website, so you can monitor that. And if somebody abandons a transaction, however you define that, it will trigger an email to go out to that person and hopefully get them to come back and finish what they were doing. Win-back program is exactly that. If you've lost a customer, or you feel like you're losing a customer, and you want to design an incentive that will, you want to show them some love and show them that they're still appreciated, and offer them some kind of incentive to continue doing business with you. That's a win-back program. Autoresponders, these are email series that are used for tutorials, or that that is the example that comes to mind for me first. And they're triggered when someone fills out a form again and they submit. And when they hit the submit button, it triggers a series of emails of like installments, if you will. Even if you're, for example, if you've written a book, it's a new chapter each week, or at whatever interval you want to send them. Newsletters, of course, we know what newsletters are. We're sending out a regular communication to let people know what's new and what's interesting and what we thought they might be interested in knowing. Nurturing campaign, when someone has expressed interest but they're not there yet, then you are sending them, you're staying in touch with them, and you're enticing them to go through the sales funnel so that they go from a lead to a prospect, to a customer, to a client. And you're doing that by sharing information on how great your product or your solution is going to be and solve, you find their pain points and you're solving their problems, and that's part of nurturing. Welcome program, it's like welcome, well, not welcome back Cotter, but we're so thrilled to have you as a new customer, and we want you to know that we're here for you. Customer satisfaction programs, those are rewards. It's like I get an email every quarter from the garage where I take my car for oil changes and maintenance, and they offer me incentives for those exact things that I buy from them to keep coming back to that garage. And then, of course, event invitations. We all like getting invited to the party. So these are all things that you can do using Ventive. How about that? Isn't that interesting? Because we want to make sure that everything is in one place, that we're making it easy to use technology for running your business instead of having to worry about running the technology.
Well, that's again a great overview of. You could probably spend an hour on this slide alone talking about the different programs. So, best to leave it at that and move on to talking about email basics.
So, we've talked a lot about email marketing, but just reinforcing, I mean, you really can build your business with email. Like I said at the beginning of this, it's the 800-pound gorilla. You improve awareness, you create awareness, and we can get into that. I mean, there are companies out there that will tell you that they talk about inbound marketing like that's the be-all and the end-all, and you should never have to go out. For me, inbound marketing is the old Field of Dreams model. If you build it, they will come. That might have worked in 1996 and 97 when everything was really just so fascinating, and even though the websites were really, really ugly. But unless you get out there, unless you get out of the building and let people know that that the building exists, they're not going to come in. So email is part and parcel of building awareness. Once you get them to come into the building, it helps you give them bite-sized pieces of information about what you do and how you can make their lives better. And in the course of that, you're building desire, you're building demand. People are talking about you, so it helps increase web traffic and registration to learn more. And it's as you see the slide, this is a circle. It keeps you keep going around the circle. You create loyalty. They talk about you. That improves awareness. And all of this can be accomplished with really effective email marketing campaigns or an email marketing program, an email an awareness program. Always staying in front. It used to be that you only needed to touch people 3 to 5 times. Now it's up to like 7 to 10 times you need to touch people. So an effective email marketing program is incredibly valuable for that.
So
Part of that, go ahead.
I was just going to ask you, so this is going in circles in a good way.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It builds on each other. Each one builds on the next. And if you're doing it right, then it just continues to enhance your business and enhance your relationships, and helps you get closer to your customers.
So just real quickly here, Lydia, inbound marketing, an example of inbound marketing would be where a company would use search engine optimization or search engine marketing to have people discover their company and bring them into the company that way. And outbound marketing is really reaching out from your company to those people,
Exactly.
like email.
Exactly. I'm in San Francisco in the Bay Area, and right in the midst of all of the startup excitement. And one of the basic principles that VCs, venture capitalists, and advisors to startups teach, and it's even part of the lean methodology by Eric Ries, is saying you have to get out of the building. You have to get out of the building and meet your customers or meet your potential customers one-on-one to learn what they want and what they need, and what they're struggling with, and ask them questions. Tell me what your pain is. And so that is true for every business, whether it's a for-profit or non-profit or arts organization or whatever. We're all out there, selling and marketing. So you have to get out of the building. SEO is definitely part of the equation, but again, you've got to hope that people are going to search for what you're offering, and if they are using the right search terms, so that you come up on the first page of the search engine. And that, like I said, is definitely important, but you can't rely on inbound marketing. That's ignoring a huge part of what it takes to be successful.
Yep. Well, and let's discuss now what's on a lot of people's mind, and that is how does the design standards affect the way that email works?
Well, it's as we're saying, it's critical to everything. It starts from the top of the email down. Who's it from? Does this look like a legitimate person? And that is becoming more and more of a challenge these days. I mean, I think it's very important to have name and company in that from line, and a recognizable email address, not only from, but as an email address that you can reply to. It is incredibly counterproductive and you know what? I think it's rude to have a no reply at ABC Company in the reply to line. what does that mean? I mean, that anyway, the subject line, you've got 65 spaces. Make them count. It's true you want to use a very clear subject line, and depending on what it is, using numbers like our three most popular items, or the five keys to succeeding at, are really, really effective. People open those, but again, it depends on your business. It depends on who the people are that you're trying to reach. You should have a very good idea of who they are and what they're looking for, and what have you promised them when they subscribed, when they opted in. The other thing, this has always been really basic, large graphics can trigger spam filters. And the next thing is, people will say, well, what about text emails? It's, even in the old days, very, very few people specified text-only format. It might be 1 out of 1,000 then. It's even less now. More important is if it can be read on a mobile device. And again, this is the key to using recognized email solution provider or marketing automation provider that has built the technology to ensure that your email is not only compliant with those federal CAN spam laws, but compliant in terms of design, and so that they go into the inbox and they render properly when somebody opens it. But you want to be concise and with your copy. If it's a long article, use that tag to say read more, so they click through and they finish reading the article. That gives you information. That tells you that you've got their attention too. You want to have a compelling call to action. If it's a newsletter, ask for their opinion. Drop a survey question in. It's really easy, or at least it's easy with Ventive. You set up the survey question and you click a button and you add the survey question to your email, and there you go. And you're capturing all that data again to get back to being able to do list segmentation and respond to those people who replied however they replied to your survey question. You can respond to them immediately. Those are all real important, and in terms of deliverability, getting people engaged, and being able to respond to them in a more informed manner in successive emails. So once you've built your email, it's like, okay, everybody's using some different email clients. Some people get Gmail, some people use Outlook, some people use Mail because they're Mac users. So you've got to be sure and test.
Which takes us to the next slide here.
And I forgot to ask, were there any questions on that last?
No, there really wasn't on the last one. I think, everybody is interested in the design aspect, but no, we didn't get any questions on that particular slide.
Well, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to send us an email with your questions. We love questions. We love to be able to respond and help you. Testing. How's my, yeah. One big question always is, how do I know that it's not going to get caught up in the spam filters? Because that is such a moving target. Believe me, we have full-time deliverability specialists who do nothing but making sure that we are current on what rule changes Google has put in place, or AOL has put in place, or whoever has put in place, and updating the application to suit that. They also maintain relationships with the ISPs to ensure that deliverability is as close to 100% as possible. And then one more thing that we do is when you've got your email, when you've finished building your email, you can actually click a button for spam, and it'll give you a score and tell you exactly what words you might want to change. For example, free. We all know free is a spam trigger, but complimentary means the same thing, and it doesn't trigger a filter, and it means that you're going to have better deliverability. But you're going to know that right from the beginning, just with a click of one button. The other thing is you do want to always send tests to yourself, to multiple email addresses, and to other sets of eyes. I think we may have all experienced that oops moment when we missed the fact that a link didn't work. But if we had sent it to a couple of colleagues to test it, it would have been caught. So that never goes out of style. That's a constant, that you want to test it to make sure that all your links work, that all your graphics render, and that hey, how does your subject line look? Is it showing up complete? If it gets broken, where is it breaking? And does it still make sense? So that's testing.
Well, and I guess the question is that you do a lot of internal testing. When do you actually do some live testing on things like subject lines to see how one subject line might work against another?
I think a lot of people, I think that's on the next slide actually,
right,
where we get into that, and a lot of people think that you need a lot bigger list than, that you need a big list of, I don't know, 50,000 or in excess of 10,000 to do any kind of A/B testing. But you really don't. I mean, you can do sample testing of subject lines to see which works better. You only want to test one element at a time. So, you might want to test two different subject lines to see which one works better on a small portion of your database, and then or you might want to test the offer in the body of the email. Which works better? Is 25% off for 6 months better than one free month if it's a subscription service? Or they're all different things that you can test to see which works better. It's never too early. I mean, if your list is under 1,000, I probably would not. I'd be reluctant to do A/B list testing, but it doesn't mean you can't. And we've made it really easy because you can set up filters on the fly to do that with when you're building an email inventive. You can get inventive with your filters.
Oh, that's great. So a lot of people are wondering about social media these days and how it fits into the overall marketing program. So maybe you could talk a little bit about that and how you can leverage social media into your campaigns.
Absolutely. Well, word of mouth is just incredible. Having word of I can't think of anything that I love more than something that creates word of mouth, viral marketing. So you want to make it easy, and so you click a button while you're building your email and in Inventive, and it adds all of the social media buttons that people can click to send to their friends on Twitter, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and any number of other social media outlets. The other thing about Ventive is we have a complete social deck where you can manage multiple LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook accounts. And so when you're getting ready to do a broadcast of an email that you've tested, then you can also send out an announcement to all of your social media outlets about this email that you're sending out with a 140 character message.
What a concept. What you're really talking about is the integration of social media with your other marketing, your more traditional marketing and email marketing tactics that you're using today.
So in other words, if you say you've got people who subscribe, they want to receive notice of a new blog post by email. They decided they don't want an RSS feed. They want it in their email, in their inbox. So you create a nice short email with that read more link to your blog, and you also set up the Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook announcements that you have a new blog post. So you're sending, you all of a sudden your opt-in email database just grew probably exponentially by all of the people that are going to see this announcement in the social media outlets and come to your blog, subscribe to your blog. Hopefully you've remembered to put strong calls to action for whatever you want on your blog page, and it just goes on from there.
So I guess leveraging social media in your marketing campaigns, it really isn't your teenagers' social media anymore. It's really business social media.
It is, and it offers an opportunity to build your relationships that started socially on and then also, and very importantly, position yourself as an industry thought leader. It's extremely important. Just like a lot of people write books now to position themselves as industry thought leaders, and you can do that. Personally, I'm a little too lazy to do that. I'd rather use social media. I'd rather use my blog, and it's a lot more immediate, but it does build opportunities. Leveraging social media to position yourself as an industry thought leader generates opportunities to speak on panels, to talk about your business, to do all of those things that enhance your company and translate to the bottom line.
Great. So throughout the presentation, we've been getting some questions about tracking and analyzing activity. So it might be a good point where we talk about measuring results.
This is another reason why I fell in love with email marketing, is I get results right away. I love real-time metrics, and it's fascinating to and I think all of us who've used email marketing have experienced the same thing. But it never gets old when you send that email out and you go to the page. If you're using something that gives you really great metrics, you go to that page and you start seeing you start seeing people click to. You see the emails go out, and then you see them click to open, and then you start seeing them click on links, and hopefully that's integrated with your web tracking so that you see them clicking through from that landing page to other pages on your website. And who's doing that? Who has clicked? Is it just macro or is it micro? Are you just getting overall metrics, or are these campaign statistics being associated with individuals? When they're associated with the individuals in your database, then that allows you, again, to do some very smart list segmentation and respond to those people in a very timely manner with additional information, with the upsell, if you will, in a follow-on email. And we've really focused. We've been doing email marketing since 2001, and with Ventive, which is actually our version 3.0, we've gone to great lengths to provide the metrics, as more metrics than you'll probably ever use. It's just really fun to go and do a campaign and see all of the numbers that you can get, and compare different broadcasts against each other. So you can do historical metrics as well. So you can see how your campaign, over the life of the campaign, how the performance changes. Hopefully it's going up every time.
So tracking and measuring, again, is one of those areas that we could spend hours on, and I think we need to wrap up here. This slide really talks about all of the metrics that can be tracked. I don't know if you want to make any points on this, but it's much more than just open rates and click-through rates.
Yeah, it's actually open rate and click-through rate are really important. I think social sharing, even though it isn't tracked that much by organizations yet, as you can see, it's less than 20%. I think it is definitely going to become more and more important as it has more and more influence on your bottom line. I'm a very bottom line person, so to see that less than 35% of organizations track revenue per email is kind of surprising. But, it's what's important to you. What's important to your organization. Like I said, personally, I'm a bottom line person, so I want to see how much money I'm making off, against the emails sent.
And who wouldn't?
I can tell you the nonprofits that have used our technology are very bottom line. So I hope that you feel that the time you've spent with us has been well spent. It is definitely, email marketing is not going away. Email is not going away. When your kid is at college and out of money, he's either going to pick up the phone or send an email. He's certainly not going to send you a tweet. So email is valuable, and it's worth the time to use and perfect, and it's worth the time to play by the rules, and in every sense of the way, in terms of operating legitimately and respectfully of the people who opt into your list, and make it easy for people to show you some love with just the simplest registration form you think you need right now. What do you need? What do you really, really need right now? And what can you wait on? Segmentation that lets you get really smart and really, really see ROI increase against the number of emails sent. It's not even though I use broadcast for sending a lot of emails, you're not broadcasting anymore. You want to get really smart and really targeted. And use all the tools out there. all the
Yeah,
tools
including social
that
media.
make sense for use the tools that make sense for your company. Don't make yourself crazy, and you don't have to do it all at once. You can ease into it. That's why we've built a comprehensive platform with all the tools in Bennett, but it doesn't mean that you need to be overwhelmed, and it doesn't mean that you have to use everything right now. Use what makes sense as you grow into it.
Well, again, I'd like to thank you, Lydia, for the important discussion about winning with high ROI email marketing, and I'd like to thank the audience for listening. For more information about today's topic or the Ventive system, you can visit our website at www.ventive.com, or you can contact Lydia at 212-260-0065, or in San Francisco, 415-324-5825, or by email at lksugarman@ventive.com, or you can contact me, Larry Fournier, at larry.fournier@ventive.com, or call me at 508-341-3220. This concludes today's session. On the behalf of Ventive, Lydia Sugarman, and me, thank you for attending today's webinar.